Hello, baby.
Hello, nasty. Hello there.
Hello.
I say hello.
Hello, friend.
Well, hello, little girl. Hello, my treacherous friends. Hello, operator. The beginning of everything.
Welcome back, my friends.
It's showtime.
Hey everybody, it's episode 257 of The Brink of Sanity. Not much has happened since the last episode, so I don't know if we're going to have anything to talk about. Do you have anything, Mark? I mean, it was a slow week.
Yeah, so just to tell you when we are recording, in case you are not sure, we are recording on Thursday. Tuesday was election day, and I have to say, I am pretty fucking upset. You want to know why I'm pretty upset, Jay?
Because once again, the person who got the most votes didn't win the election?
I will tell you why I am. This fucking sucks. I tell you what. This really fucking sucks. This is what fucking sucks. You want to know what fucking sucks, Jay?
I do.
Yeah, this is what drives me insane. So for the last 2 months, my wife claims I've been snoring, and really loudly. She keeps waking me, and I think I stop, but she's like, Mark, maybe you have sleep apnea. I'm like, Jay just had sleep apnea. He had his tonsils out. I'm not getting my goddamn tonsils out.
One of us.
This is really what's going on. She asked me if I could sleep in the office tonight. I can't even sleep in the same bed as her because she's like, I really need. I'm just so tired. I need a full night of sleep. Can you just for one night sleep not in the bed? I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I hurt my shoulder. Somehow working out, my shoulder's it's not like hurt, but it's hurt, it bothers me a little bit. And I usually sleep on my right side. And so I think I've been sleeping more on my back because of that. But my wife thinks it's because I have sleep apnea. How did you know you had sleep apnea?
It got bad to the point where I would wake up gasping.
Yeah, I don't. Why does she think I have sleep apnea? She just immediately goes, "You're snoring. I bet you have a condition that involves you choking to death."
Well, because that's severe apnea. You can have moderate apnea and not have that happen.
I looked up I can't get from the symptoms. It said you have trouble sleeping, you're snoring, and you have bad sleep. I'm like, well, these symptoms could be anything basically.
Yes. You need to get a sleep study.
I'm not going for a sleep study.
Well,
That sounds. I'm going to be wearing one of these people now wearing a goddamn Bane mask to bed, going to some honey, I got to sleep in the city at the sleep study place. I'm going to be going through your life from the last 2 years. Why don't I get my I should get my MBA also and study for the CPA.
Just repeat my life 5 years later.
I'm looking at this. I'm like, have I gained that much weight? Am I suddenly crossed the threshold of I'll go to the doctor and be like, oh, you've entered fathood, and so we can take out your tonsils, but it's really going to be the not eating during the tonsil thing that'll help you get off the. I'm not happy about this. How did you get to the point where you knew the tonsils were the issue?
When I lost 25 pounds and I still had apnea.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because of my shoulder that I'm not sleeping on my right side anymore, and that's why. But why couldn't you be like, hey, is there a reason you're not sleeping on your side anymore? Or suddenly I developed just randomly the last 2 months I developed apnea?
Might be nothing.
Yeah. I'm like, do I go to a doctor or just kind of wait it out? And she's like, I'm like, if I'm snoring, just hit me. I'll wake up and I'll stop snoring. I don't think that's a bad trade-off.
Right.
Did your parents snore?
My dad did.
Both my parents did. My mom especially was really loud. Maybe it runs in my family.
Could.
Do you think yeah. So that's what's really bothering me now is this whole snoring thing, which this affects my life so much worse than the elections.
Yeah.
I whatever. Our country's now a goddamn joke, and where our nation's about to end as we know it. But the fucking snoring thing is really annoying.
Yeah, that affects you now. Whereas even if Trump screws up the country, it'll probably take a few years.
I don't even want to talk about the election. Let's just talk about my snoring the rest of the show.
You're really upset about this, huh?
Okay, were you a big snorer? Like, what point did you start snoring?
When I got super fat.
Were you with your girlfriend at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, so at some point was she like, you're snoring and you never snored before?
Yeah, I think I was like, I would snore like if I was drunk or super tired, but then
I would do when I was drunk. Yeah, that I definitely would.
And then it would turn into like every day.
Yeah. And how did she deal with it? Does she know? Did she understand? Well, I guess she would have to understand in New America, in Trump America, as a woman, you should shut the fuck up and let the guy snore.
She basically just complained until I got a sleep study.
How long was she complaining for?
I don't know. I mean, you know, when women complain, it seems like years when it can only be minutes. So.
Oh my God! Like my wife will never drop something, just going on, and you're like, you're doing your thing. Like you just keep going on and on. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm just reminding you over and over again that you have to do because you're not. I'm like, ugh. Do you want to talk about the election? Do you want to spend the entire show talking about, our country's changed?
You know what? I do have to say that all the protests afterwards are stupid. It's not accomplishing anything. It's a waste of time and energy. It's just polarizing everybody. And if you wanted to,
here's why I think you're wrong. So here is why why the protest of Trump makes sense. The concern is by electing Trump, he will end up like basically turning this into like he will become a dictator, end up like a fascist dictator. It will end our elections or end our democracy.
That's
so the best way to prevent that is to protest his democratic election.
You know what they should have protested when the DNC was rigging the Democratic primaries and kicking Bernie out. That was the time to protest, not when somebody actually wins legitimately.
The time to have any energy to like do stuff was probably prior to the election.
Yes.
Maybe if you gave a shit prior, it would have mattered a lot. It would have helped a lot.
Exactly.
I mean, I've heard so many people talk about. So one person was telling me, "Do we have our guest?"
Yeah, but why isn't it letting me conference? The goddamn Skype! I hate you so much. I hate you, Skype.
Jay says we have a guest. So. Okay, whatever. Someone was telling me like, oh, well, I voted for Trump. Doc.
He's not on yet.
Yeah, okay. Should I wait for him to talk or?
No, we could just have a bunch of awkwardness.
Okay. So someone was saying to me that I voted for him because I care. This is someone who was very, very Jewish. Like, I voted for Trump because of Israel. And I was like, yeah, well, the election was here, not in Israel. What are you talking about? Well, I voted for Trump because of Israel. I was like, oh, I understand. Obama's been waging a war against Israel for the last 8 years. Totally makes sense why you have to elect the other party.
I don't even get what Trump does for Israel.
I don't know. Just something about apparently how Trump is close to Israel. And she took it further. So Hillary is anti-Israel. You know Anthony Weiner's wife, Humana Abedina, whatever the hell her name is?
Yeah.
Or I guess her name is that moron, that victim of a.
No, she's a moron.
The only person that wasn't getting tweets of Anthony Weiner's penis. That's her name. Anyway, so she's like, Humana, her dad founded the Muslim Brotherhood, and I was like, oh. You mean that major terrorist organization? Her dad was the founder of it, and it hasn't been a bigger story. I don't know if you're right.
I love these conspiracy theories.
And then they were like, okay, well let's look it up. And they were like, and Anthony Weir is not really Jewish. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even asked. What the hell are you talking about? Well, his dad's Jewish, his mom's not. And I was like, oh, okay, that's retarded. I don't care what the religion says. Why do you have to throw in that he's not really Jewish? Like, if he was really Jewish, he would have sent out pictures of a smaller cock. I don't. I don't understand. Like, why you even bring that part up to it?
I don't know.
I don't. And you realize we live in. Here's what I realized the most. I was pretty much like in shock when this happened. That Trump won, and I'm like, where the fuck do I live? I can't believe this is happening. And in 2008 in Alabama, they were saying the exact same thing. They were like, I cannot fucking believe I have to wake up tomorrow with a black president. That's how basically it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, all those people like, oh wait, they were just like, I cannot believe this is happening in our country. What is wrong? Doesn't America see that he's black? That's the entire election. You show color of his skin in the commercial, election over. That's pretty much like yeah. How do we have 120 million votes and it's almost split down the middle?
Because we should never have had the Civil War. I mean, really, this country will never agree on anything. It's just going to be like that forever.
So basically, you're gonna make. Is Doc coming on?
I don't know. I called him like 8 times in a row, and he's just not picking up.
Oh, it's just okay. Fine, just wait for him.
I'm getting so angry.
You know that Stephen King book, the one where he like has the guy go back in time to like try to stop the JFK assassination? You should make a similar book where like you go back in time to the Civil War and you're like, Lincoln, just give them money for the road. Let them go. Ask them if they want to build a wall so we don't have to see them anymore.
Seriously, I mean, it's so polarized at this point. Like, no matter who wins in any election ever, it's going to be like this. But
don't you think even if it's polarized, it wouldn't be like that down the middle? Like, it's polarized. There's 120 million voters, and like 70 million would go for one, and 50 million would go the other.
It hasn't been like that in any election.
But it's like it's crazy that like they said of the total electorate, I think Hillary got 25.6% and Trump got 25.4%. Like how is it like Matt? Like how is this? What are the chances that our country is so like we're just like a 50-50 chance of one person? Like how is it divided so much down the middle?
Hello,
Doc.
Hey, what's up?
Oh my goodness! Finally got you.
Yeah, sorry. This stupid app was like updating. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How's the audio?
Pretty good.
We're doing checking all this on the show.
Oh, you guys are live?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really like. It's not like we're live and anyone's listening.
Anyway, we're doomed anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Doc, are your bags packed?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what country. I don't know.
Did you get your notice yet? Dear non-white person,
Yeah.
We have booked you a one-way trip to get the fuck out, Phil.
Yeah, I think being Jewish doesn't help either, probably.
No, I think Trump actually likes the Jews. And in fairness, most of his lawyers and accountants are Jewish, probably.
Oh, that's true.
And I think his daughter's actually like his daughter like converted to like Orthodox Jewish or something like that.
Oh, because her husband is maybe.
Yeah. So like we're in. I don't think any of his children converted to be not white. So
yeah, the thing with Indian people is most people don't have an issue with Indian people, but they can't tell the difference between Indians and people they hate. So
well, Trump said that he only has issues with people in this country or from places that from what is it? Places that are known. He didn't say terrorism places, so he'll probably say, "Well, Doc, you're from New York, and I don't know about New York."
Yeah, that's true.
So he had his party here, though.
He's from New York. It's his home state.
Yeah, no, he's from New York. It's weird, actually. It was like both people were like claim New York as their home.
Yeah. Although, Hillary, she's not from New York.
No, but it's weird also because they were like, Hillary's a Northeast liberal, but Donald, who's actually from New York, more of a blue collar billionaire.
Well, that's the whole farce of this election. They're both friends, and they both have fairly similar views on most things.
Yeah, actually, Trump is more Democrat.
Okay, so that's also so. Someone at work was saying that also. They're like the person at work who said like that they voted for Trump was like, hey, I hope also they don't listen because that would be bad. But I'm gonna guess they're not going to. They said, well, Trump, like, he's a Democrat. He's been a Democrat most of his life. I'm like, that's what we're all telling ourselves. We're all hoping.
No. I mean, I think he wanted to run for the Republican Party, so he changed a lot of his views because that's what he does.
Right. Or maybe he's always been like this total asshole racist, and he didn't want to he didn't feel comfortable in his own skin until now.
I don't think he cares about politics. That's the problem.
I don't know. He cares about his ego. That's what he cares about.
Yeah, he doesn't care about politics. He'll be anything he needs to be to get elected.
Right. But is he going to be like, oh well, I mean, to keep my for my long-term image, I have to build that wall.
Yeah, I mean, he has to stay Republican now because.
But I mean, that's literally what Hillary does.
Yeah, Hillary does whatever she wants to.
I mean, he really does whatever he wants because he has kind of taken some of the issues. They've been like, it's really important to reform entitlements, and Trump's like, I don't give a fuck. Doc, what are you doing there? Are you packing? Are you really packing?
Yeah. No, sorry, I moved something around the computer. So.
Okay. So here's my idea for the. We can go back to this in a second, but Jay, and I meant let's rename the show something with Donald Trump.
Well, I was thinking the best reality show would be Best President Ever, and they should just cancel all the other reality shows. I mean, he's got it. He's the president. Like,
shouldn't he give out all the cabinet positions on the Apprentice?
I mean, screw The Apprentice. You got the White House. That's the new show.
No, but like, how amazing would it be? Like, okay, we've gathered like 10 washed-up celebrities, and one of them will be the Secretary of State.
That would be amazing, actually. I would watch that.
I'd freaking watch. Like Russia's watching that. They're like, oh, I hope Gary Busey wins. We hope Gary Busey wins.
There's actually someone mentioned something. Apparently, the White House might not be up to Trump's standards in terms of accommodations. He might not actually want to live there. Like, I mean, he's lived in luxury hotels. Yeah,
he's the first person that had a downgrade. I hope he also. Do you think he's going to follow through and have his own media corporation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's stopping him?
I mean, how crazy would that be if the president has his own media corporation?
He's gonna give his company to his kids, but it's a total conflict of interest. There was this interview with his children. It was like, oh, you're gonna, most presidents put their stuff in a blind trust, and the kids were like, yeah, we're gonna run it. Like, no, that's not a blind trust. They're like, the son was
yeah. Most of the presidents don't talk about their penis during their debates. I'm different. Okay, Jay, so I want to change the name of the show from Brink of Sanity to something like Donald Trump is really president. I'll pay for the change. Whatever we got to do to change it. And I think we should go back to put the website up and just rebrand the Brink of Sanity as Donald Trump. I looked into...
How about grabbing America?
No, we have to have the name Donald Trump in it. But it has to be something about Donald Trump so we don't get sued for trademark infringement.
So we shouldn't call it the official Donald Trump podcast?
The grabbing is about Donald Trump.
Talk at the same time.
We'll call it the official Donald Trump podcast.
Yes, yeah. Well, how about we do
Oh, you think he's not going to sue you? He sues everybody.
Whatever. I just want something like Life with Donald Trump. Or Donald Trump Land.
He'll come after you. He sues everybody.
We can use his name. You can use his name as long as it's a parody or you have some kind of... I don't know. But, Jay, you don't think this would increase our downloads greatly?
It would, but it would also pretty significantly limit the amount of things we could talk about.
No, we make it the Brink of Sanity. Every show we start with, here's what's going on at Donald Trump, and then we just go into a regular show. And then we start a website that has Donald Trump, a Donald Trump podcast, plus we do articles about Trump on there. I have some friends that want to do this. They want to write content for the site. We would probably get a lot of traffic.
Well, I think you get a lot of Donald Trump voters, and then they listen to it and be like, what the fuck is this?
Whatever, as long as they're going to it. And maybe some of the they're like, I don't like their view on Donald Trump, but I don't know, the guy, he looks at InfoWars. I like him.
Some asshole just bought DonaldTrumpPodcast.com and is selling it for $1,000 a year.
That should have been you.
I know.
Jay, you're really missing that on this. We really should make it the Donald Trump podcast. Are you like how opposed are you to this?
DonaldTrumpPodcast.net is $8 a year.
Yeah,
but the .com is $1,000.
Take it. You could probably resell it for a lot.
How about Donald Trump Sanity?
That sounds stupid.
That sounds like a oxymoron.
Okay.
Also, Donald Trump president is also bad. So.
Okay, how about President Donald Trump, and then like question mark?
I could get DonaldTrumpPod.com for $9.
Well, it has to.
Donald Trump Show, maybe.
Donald Trump is really president podcast. Are you? Where are you on this idea? Do you think this idea is a bad idea or a good idea? Because I think we have to. If we want to do it, we have to do it like really soon to like move on it and get like downloads from it.
I don't know. I think it's kind of lame.
You really think this is lame?
I mean, I think if we do it, like we may
You're going to get a letter.
Well, I don't think we'll get a letter. I don't think they'll really care. There's not a single podcast right now I look in iTunes that has the name Donald Trump actually in the podcast.
Right.
There's probably a reason for that.
Well, you need something like the Knicks one. We get a lot of people just find the podcast because they're searching for Knicks. A lot of people will just search for Donald Trump, find the podcast, and start listening, and they might like it. Come on, Jay. It would be a way to like increase our downloads. Why do we have to call it the Brink of Sanity? Let the name die with the T-shirts.
But we're down to our last 6.
Just like it'll be like, everyone buy the Donald Trump podcast T-shirt. I made 400 of them.
Actually, you know what would be a good idea? You should actually sell Donald Trump T-shirts, and then they come to the site, and there's like you should also watch this.
Well, Donald Trump is going to be a major term for like just like it'll be a major hit on your website. If we have article after article on Donald, we get people writing stuff on there, and you get it'll drive a ton of traffic to the site. Plus, we have a podcast. We could actually make money off of this.
I mean, you can keep the podcast name and just shift all like the merchandise to Donald Trump. That'll still come.
Could you actually take the Brink of Sanity shirts and just put a piece of paper over that tape, like staple a piece of paper and just write Donald Trump podcast? I feel like this would be a huge boom to the boon to the show.
What do you think?
The show's never changing the Trump. Our only chance to actually make money off the show.
How about Trump.podcast?
Sure. No one's ever going to look up that.
I guess
they came out with all these things. .nyc, whatever. No one's ever going to Google those searches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would have to have Donald Trump.
But if you had Donald Trump is actually happening podcast.
I can get DonaldTrumpCast.com.
Not bad.
Sure, the Donald Trump cast, but you have to have something like a Donald Trump and More podcast. It should be a simple enough name.
It should be simple enough, but you just made it twice as long.
Okay.
We should just call it the Donald Trump Super Show Podcast. That's really awesome.com.
Okay, the American. Yeah, this is the American Life. They had a sub podcast. I'm going to talk every time you talk, goddammit, Doc. They had a sub podcast called Serial, and Serial took off.
Yeah.
We need a sub podcast. The Brink of Sanity presents Donald Trump is yearning on America.
Make podcasts great again.
Yeah, but I wanted to have Donald Trump's name in it. Donald Trump's make America great again with podcast. It has to be shorter, obviously. Donald Trump's balls podcast.
So there's how were you guys on like? I mean, like as soon as you found out that this happened, like I was kind of in a state of shock for a little bit.
Well, I was excited. I agree with all Donald Trump's policies. I think it's a wonderful idea, Doc. You want to debate the policies?
No.
Let's debate the policies, Doc. Like listen, the illegals, they're illegal, so they shouldn't be here. We have a border. There's no reason we can't build a giant wall on our border. Women have pussies. You can grab them. Why else do they have them?
Yeah. No, those are good. I'm not going to argue with that. Those they're logic proof. You can't argue with those.
I thought that's the only place where his election went. Where his campaign really went off the rails. I thought he should have just said, like they said, "Did you really say that?" And he said, "Yeah. I'm famous. That's what I do. Move on to the next question."
Yeah, that's kind of what he did.
Did you really grab these women? Fuck yeah. Move on to the next question.
He still would have gotten elected.
Still would have got elected. And a bunch of guys would have been like, man, that's awesome.
In fact, he would have won by more, I think.
Yeah. But everyone's like, I went to a basketball game last night, and one of the people I was there with was like, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I voted for Trump. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I mean, I've always admired him. He's a businessman. Like, I think he's awesome. I'm like, how? How do you think he's awesome?
Yeah.
I don't even understand. So I was at a bar watching it because my stepbrother said, like, hey, let's go. We went to a bar and watched the '08 election. This will be pretty awesome. The first early on in the night, the news was like okay for Hillary.
Yeah,
And people were cheering.
Right. Yeah.
The whole bar, like, I was like, I wonder if the bar is like, is this Trump or just Hillary? I mean, we're in New York City, so it's probably Hillary. But like any positive thing for Hillary, the place went ecstatic, crazy. Yeah. And then little by little, people started killing themselves.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like the first state was like Michigan, and it was like Trump was winning, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, once Florida was like, you were like Florida, like it was like Florida. She was up in Florida at some point, and then you're like, once she was down in Florida, you're like, this is not going. When every fucking state, it was like, oh, Trump's up. I'm like, this is not gonna work out.
I kind of knew the math. Like Florida, Ohio, she could have lost all those and still won. But then when the states that were like in the bank for her, which was like Michigan and Wisconsin, started going, I'm like, that's a problem.
And Pennsylvania, like they were like, she's down.
Pennsylvania, she was supposed to win, and then it was over.
Yeah, I was just at 11 o'clock, we all just like the people I was with were like, we got up and we're like, okay, we're just gonna go home now. This is awful. There's no way she's winning at this point.
No, it was.
And I saw on Facebook they were like, "There's one way Hillary can still be president," and I was like, "Oh, you just want us to click on your stupid article." Yeah. We have all heard the election.
Well, like the states like Michigan and Wisconsin, like she stopped campaigning there a while ago because she's like, "I have these states," and that's when you knew she was in trouble.
Well, everyone's like, "Okay, our country's just racist," and it is probably, but I think it's more like the message of change is pretty strong. He's like, you remember 8 years ago? Like your life still kind of sucked, most of America, and you want change. And Hillary's like, hey, your lives still kind of suck, but like, I don't know, that guy's kind of crude. What message is stronger?
No, her message was, she was just a bad candidate. I mean, I think, a lot of the candidates could have beat Trump very easily, but she was just bad.
I just thought like, the Republican Party would be too embarrassed. Like they would just depress turnout. People wouldn't come out to vote for him.
I thought so too. Yeah.
But if people weren't like Hillary, hurrah. But they said right before, so a week before the election, they said 13% of the people who were expected to vote were like undecided, and like in 2008, in the 2012, it was 3%. So it was like that's a lot of people that are still undecided. And I guess they all went for Trump, I guess. Or,
that's what happened. But, it was like they thought both candidates sucked, so they were undecided. I guess I can see that. But I didn't I didn't think they would all go for Trump, though.
Yeah, well, they said, obviously it didn't all because it was like almost split down the middle. But there was something about how the polls, where they're like, well, some of the reasons the polls, like theories why the polls could have been off. One of them is that the Trump voter is someone that is more like skeptical of government organizations and things like polls, so they're less likely to actually even participate in the poll.
Mm-hmm. And probably they don't want to tell anyone, even a pollster,
So there was one thing I read that apparently there's one poll company that they found when they call people and ask them who they're going to vote for. Well, basically found if they used a recorded message to ask you for your who you're going to vote for, they got more yeses for Trump than if they actually had someone ask you.
Yeah.
So people were kind of ashamed to like admit I'm voting for Trump because of like the flack you get.
I mean, so I work out in the East End of Long Island, so that's actually like there's a lot more Republicans out there than other parts of New York.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are pro-Trump, but there are a lot of people I work with that I'm pretty sure voted for Trump, but they don't like put it out there most of the time.
Also, the country's so split, and I guess you're in like liberal. New York in general is a lot more liberal,
but there are certain parts in even New York, like Staten Island is Republican, East End along Suffolk County, I think voted for Trump more than Hillary.
But also, my point is so at work you probably don't want to you don't want to go up to your random coworker and go like, hey, that fucking sucks, and then be like, why? America's great again, asshole. You don't you don't really want to debate politics. You only kind of want to kind of complain with people who are like-minded, right?
Yep.
At the same time, I feel like sometimes. So we're now in the suburbs. I don't know everyone here that well, and I don't really discuss politics with half the people. And so someone I sat down next to someone in the train I knew, and I was like, and I'm like, we're like that election. I'm like, yeah, happy or sad? I don't want I don't want to insult the person either because I don't give a shit about if you voted for Trump, good, whatever. I'm not gonna be like,
it happened. So what are you gonna do? Yeah,
and then I'm like, he's not white, so maybe he didn't vote for Trump. And is that racist for me to be assuming that the non-white person is probably voted for Trump and probably did not vote for Trump?
It's funny. I went downstairs to the bodega. I got a sandwich, and the people who run it, they're clearly Muslim because they're speaking Arabic to each other. And I'm like, I wanted to start a conversation, but I was like, you know what? It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
I who knows?
Before the election, so my son. He likes to say the opposite of everything of me. So I say, I'm like, go Mets. He goes, go Yankees. Go Jets. He's like, go Giants. So I'm like, go Hillary. He's like, go Donald Trump. And I told him and he wanted to vote for Donald Trump. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter because we're in New York and New York goes for Hillary. And he's like,
why are you trying to rationalize voting with a 5-year-old?
Oh, well, he goes, no. He's like, someone in my class is voting for Donald Trump. And I was like, who? He's like, Diego. I'm like, Diego's not voting for Donald Trump.
Now I know you're lying, you little shit.
I actually took both of my kids to vote. And by the way, in the suburbs, in Whitelandia, no issue voting, no lines, nothing. I walked in, walked out in 5 minutes.
I got into 5 minutes too.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of America, you're completely fucked. You have to wait in lines for days. People are still waiting to vote for Obama in Alabama. Yeah. But so anyhow, I was like, you can fill in the circle. So I was like, I let my daughter vote for Hillary, and my son, I'm like, this is Donald Trump. Just fill in this circle, and he voted for Chuck Schumer. And it's I can only do this trick so much longer until he learns to read. Where'd you guys watch the election?
I went to a Nets game.
Do you guys talk at the same time again?
Probably.
Jay, where did you watch the election?
I went to a Nets game instead.
Did they announce? Did they give updates during the show?
No.
I mean, during the game?
No. I think it's where everyone went to.
When did you find out? Did you get home first?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was checking periodically, and it was looking worse and worse and worse. And then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna focus on this comedy show I'm watching. It was Timberwolves and Nets, so it was a comedy show.
Did the crowd have any reactions? You're like, why is the crowd booing at halftime? Oh wait, I gotta check my phone.
I mean, I heard there was no crowd apparently, right?
It was 50% full maybe. But after the game, everyone's immediately starts looking into their phone. You just hear worried mumbles, and people are like, "Oh, I can't believe this shit."
So I'd gone to a bar. My wife went to sleep. After she put the kids to bed, she was tired, went to sleep. In the morning, she's waking up, looking at her phone, and she's like, wait, he fucking won? He won? Where the fuck do we live? He won. She was so mad. And she's like, this is right. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I think I had texted her that Trump won. She saw my text, thought I was kidding, had to check New York Times. It was and you're trying to find, I don't understand why New York Times has all this stuff about Trump winning. It's just I don't understand. Where's the part about him losing?
Yeah, I came home and I was just shell-shocked. I just stared at my computer for 2 hours.
That's kind of what I did too, yeah.
Yeah, I took I was in the city, came back, took the train, and I didn't have a car at the train station, so I just walked the 2 miles, which Jay thinks, by the way, Doc, how long do you think it takes to walk 2 miles?
20 minutes or 30 minutes?
Jay thinks you can walk 2 miles in 5 minutes.
No,
it's a 2 mile walk to the train station to my house, And I was saying how, like, if I don't have a car this minute, I'll take a taxi. He's like, why would you take a taxi? It's like 5 minutes to walk 2 miles.
Jeez.
And he's so serious about it. I'm like, it takes, like, a decent mile is 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And apparently he walks. He goes twice as fast as a decent mile.
Yeah, if you're a fast walker, you could do it in 20. But
Yeah, that's what I said. Mark's completely skewing the story.
I would, apparently when Jay walks, he's like a goddamn Kenyan marathon runner.
I do walk very fast. I mean,
How, really, Mr. Flash? You do 2 miles in like 5 minutes?
20,
Wow, Jay, how long do you
20
actually
minutes. I don't know how your slow ass takes like 45 minutes to do it.
I guarantee we should go to a goddamn track and do a live brink show where I prove to you that you're an idiot.
Let's do it. I know I can do it in 20 minutes.
I just know we can't actually record live anywhere else besides over Skype.
I feel like
20?
everyone else figures this out. We got to be able to figure it out.
Doc, do you know how to do a live show anywhere else? Like, if we could just bring equipment with us, we could do a live show. We could go to a bar and do a Brink of Sanity show, but we can't.
I think we could.
Yeah, I don't know about live. The problem with live is you have to have some sort of bandwidth to transmit the data, like, fast enough. That's the problem.
Well, no, like, I mean, I think we're talking instead of live, like, record remotely.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that should be easy. Yeah, you just need a good video camera, basically.
Well, we don't need video. We just need audio. We don't need to even record the event. We can just record the audio. It'll be like, because they do radio shows from things. They're like, ooh, KTS wins here at Brad's Bar on Main Street. Whatever.
I mean, you just need a decent audio recording, equipment, and then.
I mean, if we just had fans also, we could go to a bar and have like the fans meet us at the bar and be like, hey, there's Todd, our fan.
Or if we had fans, they could tell us how to do this.
I mean, the bar's going to be like, oh, well, like, you're going to record live here, your podcast. I'm sure you'll get a huge following. Yeah. So if you count us, you'll get 2 people for the bar. But it would be pretty cool if we did a live show somewhere. Like a track, so Jay can prove to me that you can walk 2 miles in like 12 seconds. You think you could walk 2 miles in 20 minutes?
Absolutely.
That's a pretty fast walk. I mean, you're basically running / walking.
Yeah. Jay, if you ran a mile, how fast would you run the mile?
I would run it in like 8 minutes.
So you think when you switch from running to walking, you only slightly slow down?
Yeah, I'm a very slow runner, a very fast walker.
You're like, how fast would it take you to run the mile? 8 minutes. How fast to walk it? 8:01.
I would say 12 minutes is like a pretty fast walk.
I would say 12 minutes is a brisk walk. I would say 15 minutes is a reasonable walking pace.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to email us and tell us how to record remotely, we will do a show.
Doc, if you were taking the train home and you get home, your train pulls in at 7 o'clock, your kids go to sleep at 8 o'clock, would you take a taxi home, or would you walk because it takes the exact same? You could walk as fast as a car.
I mean, I like walking, so I'd rather walk.
Well, if you actually want to see, you actually also want to see your kids.
But you said it takes the same amount of time.
No, I'm saying in Jay's universe, walking and taking a taxi takes the same amount of time.
Oh, okay.
The fact that I'm not as fast as the goddamn car, Jay.
Apparently, Mark's 2 miles to his house is like the Oregon Trail, and he needs special transportation to get there.
All I'm saying is, if the kids are already asleep, I'll walk because I like walking. But if I can get home fast through a taxi, I'd rather be able to get home and do more bedtime.
2 miles is a pretty long walk.
Is your house 2 miles straight up a mountain?
Like, it's 2 miles over broken glass, actually. It's 2 miles by river. I have to swim it.
I don't see why.
An average walk to a subway is like half a mile at most. So 2 miles is a lot.
You know, Jay, he gets from the door to door walking through him to where you downtown Manhattan, Jay? That's where you work?
Yeah.
Takes him 8 minutes.
He just walks the whole way.
Yeah, he's actually faster than the subway.
I work in the World Trade Center.
Like he just walks on the water.
Yeah. Actually, he pulls the Q train as he walks. The Q train.
He walks so fast on the water that he doesn't even sink into the water. He's so fast.
The Q train is now powered by Jay. They're like, we've gone energy efficient. Jay just pulls the goddamn train to downtown Manhattan.
I mean,
I don't think, Doc, tell me this. You don't think it'd be? Do you think it's a good idea to rebrand the show to get more downloads as the Donald Trump podcast, whatever we want to call it? Like, would Donald Trump, the name of it, get us more downloads?
It would get us downloads from a specific group of people
who would hate the shit out of the show.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, or they'd like it because they might. If you make it sound like, well, you make it sound like Donald Trump, really. And the Donald Trump Really podcast, and people will be like, oh, I'm liberal also. Let me listen to it. Oh, they're not really covering that much Donald Trump, but these guys are so funny and witty. I'm going to come back to the show. At least it gets people to listen to the show once. I don't know how else to get people to listen to the show once.
I mean, I think from a advertising perspective, it's a good idea. I mean, it's all about traffic, right? You got to get people watching it.
Jay, what's the harm? We change the name to Donald Trump. And then we don't get more downloads, and no one knows we even changed the name to Donald Trump because no one knows about the Brink of Saturday podcast.
How about the Donald Trump Happened podcast?
Yeah, there you go. Doc gets credit for that one.
What?
The
Donald Trump. What do you say, Doc?
Donald Trump Happened podcast, I guess.
Yeah, and that way it's also like a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, these people might not be for Donald Trump.
Maybe they're against Donald Trump, or maybe they're for. Maybe I don't mean that we have to be like the conservatives. Like Donald Trump happened. Yeah, it happened. America's great. And the liberals like Donald Trump happened. Oh no, I podcast I can cry with.
What do you think, Jay?
I'm gonna let you, Jay. I mean, you have to agree and be on board since, as far as I know, the podcast gets like put online through like magic. And I assume the name would have to be changed through magic. I don't really know how else it gets
If by
changed,
magic you mean monies, then yes.
I'll pay for it. I'll pay for all the change. The cost of changing the name, the cost of all the cost that goes into this, and I'll pay for it all.
The DonaldTrumpPodcast.com is available.
The Donald Trump what?
Podcast.com.
Okay.
That's like pretty straightforward.
Well, I think that it has to have something else in it just because he does do a lot of lawsuits. So you have to be like the Donald Trump Happened podcast.
Yeah, I think I like that.
That way, it's not that you're not just using his name, you're making it more of like a parody on his name or something like that. I do like you don't want to make it sound like too official of a podcast because then he'll actually sue you. Like legitimately will probably sue you. So I don't actually want to get sued from the president of the United States.
You think he's
By the way,
a lot of people are going to get sued by the president of the United States because he likes to sue people.
That would be really good for our numbers.
Can you imagine also like you're Rosie O'Donnell and you're like, wow, the president-elect called me a fat bitch at a debate.
Yeah, that's got to be awful.
This is where our country comes to. Is the guy who just tore into me is now the president. I got sexually harassed by Donald Trump, and all I got was this lousy president.
Or I got stiffed by Donald Trump by not getting paid for whatever shit I did for him. He's president now. Great.
Yeah, like what policies? So they had on the New York Times had a thing about his policies. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, "Well, they're talking too much politics," go fuck yourself. We're gonna rename the Donald Trump politics show, and so you'll.
Donald Trump happened. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, Donald Trump happened. That's a great podcast name. What are all the things that may happen in the Donald Trump presidency? What do you think is going to happen and not going to happen?
I don't know about this wall. It's like.
Are you building one right now?
Yeah. What the hell are you doing?
Getting a beer.
Are you recycling glass bottles right now?
I'm obtaining a beer bottle to drink.
Holy crap! It's only loud for people with ears. Okay, so the wall. Is the wall happening?
No. Absolutely not.
Doc?
Yeah, I don't see how he's gonna. I mean, it doesn't make any sense in terms of being able to do it.
Oh, you know what doesn't make any sense either? Donald Trump is president. So let's talk more about. I get he's a Democrat, but really a Republican. I mean, he's been campaigning on this stuff for 2 years. He kind of stopped talking about the wall, though. In fairness.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Though I think it would be helpful if we got involved in the world of finance, and we spoke Spanish. Then we could help with the financing by the Mexicans of the wall.
The first thing that's going to happen is he's going to realize how fucking hard, difficult it is to be president. I mean, all the stuff he said he's going to do, it's like he's going to realize how difficult it is. He's just going to be hire people to figure out how to do this shit.
Yeah, I think you do hire people. It's called your cabinet.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just going to be like, oh, what? I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do this. Well, being president sucks.
Well, they already started saying no to him.
Like what?
He said he wanted to have longer term limits, and they already said, yeah, that's not happening. I mean, shorter term limits.
Yeah. That seemed like he had a whole thing of things he's going to do.
Yeah, they're already going down that list and telling him no, and he didn't even start yet.
Donald Trump contract with America, I think it was. What about immigration? So on January, whenever the inauguration, he's going to immediately deport every illegal immigrant from the country.
I mean, it's hard to do, but he's going to be able to do all the Republican things because his Congress is Republican, so they're definitely going to start working on that stuff.
He's going to here's one: a 5-year ban on the White House and congressional officials becoming lobbyists after they leave government service. That one is less realistic than the wall because all those people are like, hey, how do we get paid then?
Right.
I mean, I think that one is a good thing, but he's not going to be able to do it.
I feel like
the thing is, the people who would vote for that, it would be like voting against your best interests. That's why, the shorter term limits. Why would Congress pass that? Because it's just going to screw themselves.
Yeah, and it's anything that the Republicans aren't going to want to do, he's not going to be able to do. So. Well,
here's what I think the Democrats should do. They're not going to, but they should go to Donald Trump and go, listen, we will make this offer to you. Why don't we find all the things we agree on, like infrastructure? Let's all work together, get this stuff passed. The alternative, and if you work with us, then you don't have to work with the extremist crazies on your party. You can do stuff. You can get stuff done if you don't have all the Republicans on board.
Yeah, because the Senate is almost 50-50. So if they could potentially block things.
They can block everything. Yeah, we can make the next 4 years for you awful. You'll pass nothing. If you want to be a great presidents get shit done. No one's going to like you if you don't get shit done. And so if you want to get shit done, work with us and let's pass stuff. Let's pass everything we agree on and then talk about the stuff we disagree on.
I honestly think negotiating is one of his strengths, to be honest. There's a lot of shit I'm scared about, but that's not one of them.
You know what's also a strength of his? Campaigning for president, apparently.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good at it.
He's like, I can get a loud ass schmuck elected president.
I don't know if I want to. See, here's my thing about changing the name. I don't feel like I want.
Holy shit! I'm going to wait till a president's actually named Brink Sanity.
No, I don't know if I even want to do this whole episode on Trump. I'm already getting sick of talking about him. That's the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
But we don't have to do that. It could be the first 10 minutes, just like you said, don't you that comic book one you listen to where the first 10 minutes they talk about comic books and they talk about whatever they want?
Yeah.
We'll spend the 10 minutes going here's an update from Trumpland. Trumpland told Angela Merkel he's going to grab her pussy. Will he apologize? I don't know. Moving on, the shit's going on in my life. I'm snoring. My wife keeps going on about it. I have to sleep at the goddamn office tonight. What the hell's her problem? That will be her show.
I mean, I kind of agree with Jay. I'm getting depressed just talking about it right now. So.
But okay, update in Trumpland. Trump showed his balls to the Prime Minister of Brazil. It happened anyway. And we might drop a bomb in Brazil.
Yeah.
We don't really live there. Moving on. That's all. 10 minutes on Trump every episode, and you can talk about whatever you want, and we'll just make it. It'll be the Brink of Sanity, just named differently.
A good thing to do would be to buy the domain and release the episode as Brink and as the Trump podcast, and see if there's any difference in numbers.
That's true. You could do both, actually.
Yeah.
Sure. Why don't you buy? Yeah, let's do it. Let's buy it, and you do it. I'll send you the money.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea because not enough people listen to it to figure it out anyway. They'll
No,
probably be
Jay-
different people.
Jay just actually had a pretty good idea. Like, buy it, let's do it. Let's call it the Donald Trump Happens podcast. Release it, do everything, get it released like in the next day or two, and I'll send you a check and just do it. It's worth the experiment.
It's a no lose situation because you have the.
How much could this cost? How much do you think it's going to cost to do all that?
It's going to cost, for the first year, it's going to cost $21 a month. And for the second year, it's going to go up to $35 a month.
I meant, how much does it cost to try this once and see the experiment?
Well, I have to buy the domain, and I have to get a hosting.
Yeah,
Okay.
how much does that cost? Is like, can you pay for 1 month, or do you have to pay for the entire 10-year commitment?
You have to pay for an entire year. You have to pay for an entire year, and you need a hosting account. So for 1 month, it would be $32.
That's not bad.
Podcasting isn't cheap.
That's not bad. Yeah, but you don't have to pay for the two. You don't have to pay for a year up front, do you?
Yeah. But the first year, you always get a really good deal. So the first year is like $12, and then it's $20 a month to host the episodes.
So the first year is just $12
For the website, but then you need storage to host the actual episodes. But
do you have to pay for the full year of storage?
No. I think that's just month to month.
Hey Jay, I'll send you a check for $50 for doing this.
That'll get us 2 months.
That's perfect.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just by then you can figure out if it's working or not.
Okay.
And if you don't want you put it up. If you don't want to do it, you keep the change.
Okay.
That does it sound like a plan?
Yep.
Sweet.
When we go off the show, I will send you $50.
Okay.
We will see the experiment, and Jay's like, "Oh, we got 12 more downloads. Is it worth it?" I feel like we put it up there and it gets some more down. It's if we get a bunch of downloads from it, obviously worth it. If we don't get a bunch of downloads, then obviously it's not worth it.
Right.
But I'm only posting it now in the Donald Trump Happens Facebook page. You know what? Actually, we should do. We should change the Knicks podcast to the Donald Trump podcast. Donald Trump Knicks podcast.
All right. Moving on.
Oh God, I got to move on. I want to talk about Donald Trump to death.
Yeah.
You know, the KKK support. The KKK, I guess they had a newspaper that endorsed him.
But I want to talk more about some of your deficiencies as a human.
Well, hang on. But I just want to say how funny it would be if I got Doc a KKK newspaper subscription. It just started every day, just showed up at your door, Doc, and you're like, why do I keep getting the KKK newspaper? And you're trying to cancel, and they're like, "Oh, it's already paid for, sir. Don't worry, we'll just drop it off." Oh, but you still have to send by certified mail if you want to end your subscription. You can't just write us a letter. It has to be a certified letter if you want to. And then they'd be call you at work. You'd be like, "Hang on, I got a call. I don't know this number. I don't care if it's 80% off the subscription price. I don't want to renew my magazine subscription."
Yeah.
No, it's nothing to do with the content. I don't like the content. I don't want to discuss this, sir. Please stop calling me.
I get that with medical journals. I don't mind medical journals, but they start piling up and you can't possibly read all of them, and I can't figure out how to cancel them. Apparently they're free, but
Listen. I know you haven't been to my place before. I don't support the KKK. They just keep sending this to my house. This guy just is an asshole and signed me up, and I can't. I know that one looks red. I didn't read that one. They just send it oh. I think that'd be the greatest. I think that'd be hilarious. What do you want to talk about, Jay? My deficiencies as a human being?
do we have questions or something?
We do, actually.
Why don't we do that?
Jay, I have a question for you. Are you there, Jay? Where did Jay go?
Is Jay not here? Are we on our own?
Hey, you want to talk about the Mets then?
Yeah, the Mets. Are all their pitchers gonna be healthy next year? What's going on with that?
I don't know. Cespedes opted out. Do you think the Knicks?
Yeah,
Mets
he's
will get
not.
him?
I don't think they're gonna get him.
I don't think so. Shouldn't they just go in and give him $150 million?
Yeah, he was part of their. I don't know. I feel like they need to figure out their pitcher situation, make sure it's legitimate.
I was at a game, and this guy. So we were talking about that. Is he worth the money? And a guy in front of me, the guy's trashed, absolutely trashed. And he's like, they just should resign him. And I was
I think he's worth the money if they're going to be a playoff team.
Well, we're like, well, like $30 million a year. He's kind of old. Is it really worth spending like $150 million on him? And he's like, and the guy's like, what do you care? It's not your money.
No, I mean he was good last year. I mean, the problem is they had no other offense.
You know what the thing is, though? Bruce's numbers aren't that much worse. If Jay Bruce could put up numbers like he put up last year, his numbers and Cespedes' numbers.
Yeah.
Are you talking about baseball?
Yes.
Of course, you walked away. You walked away.
God.
You talk about baseball.
You didn't even tell us you were leaving.
Yeah, that's a smooth transition.
That was a smooth transition. Yeah, we smoothly transitioned to Mets. You walk away, we talk about the Mets.
Well, we asked like what you thought about something, and we got no response. So we talked about
Jay,
that.
I have a question for you. So I have a question for you that I think is important, and we should address.
Okay.
So let's say you got offered your dream video editing job, whatever, or just a video editing job that'll pay the salary you're making now, which would probably be your dream at this point. You go to work, and they're like, we're going to edit video. La, 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 we're editing. And Jay's like, la, 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 I'm editing. This is so much fun. Editing. Oh, I love my job now. Life is so good. And they're like, ding, 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 end of work day. Okay, guys, let's all hit the showers together.
No. Would not do it.
Doc, would you take a shower at the gym?
You mean by myself? Yeah.
I mean, like, you go to the gym to work out. You bring a towel at the end of the workout. Would you go into the showers there and take a shower? And I'm not saying
like other people are around.
I'm not saying you have gay sex with the guy in the shower. I'm just saying they have individual stalls at any gym, any health club now. You go in there. It's not like you're going in there and going, oh, well, I am kind of smelly. I might as well have gay sex. It's you just go in there, you shower, you go change your clothes, and just leave.
Oh, wait, there's individual stalls?
What the where have you been?
Not in the showers in a men's bathroom.
What men's bathroom? Where are you going to? Like, I don't know. The only men's bathroom I've been to was in a Turkish prison.
I thought it was just a big open room with a bunch of dicks.
Only in your fantasy.
I don't understand.
Jay's like, what? Jay's like, okay, I don't understand why I have to suck the dick. Well, Jay, that has nothing to do with it. I don't know. Like, if I'm going to be in a shower with other men, I'm going to have to suck their dicks.
I don't understand why you have to, like, why can't you go home and take a shower? Like, I don't understand.
Right, exactly. That's what I do.
Oh, because I go to the gym in the morning before work, and then I'm going to work, and the gym, and I'm also taking a train.
It's out of the way.
Yeah, I'm actually taking the train. I'm by I take a train to the city. The gym is near my office. I can't really go.
The gym is 2 miles from his house, so it takes him 3.5 hours to get there.
Actually, it's a 40-minute train ride, so I could probably walk it in 5 seconds.
I don't know. I've never gone to the gym in the morning, so I can't relate to that.
I'm just saying. Let's just say hypothetically you did. Like hypothetically, would you take a shower there? Would it be so odd if you take a shower?
No, I went to the gym in the morning for a year, and I walked back home and took a shower.
Because you're weird. I'm asking Doc, okay? Doc.
No, I would say that if there were stalls and stuff, it's fine. Yeah.
I'm saying it's not a Roman orgy. You'd be fine with taking a shower.
I did not know there was individual stalls.
Jay, I will talk to you when I want to talk to you.
I'm gonna go get another beer.
Jay, why don't you go away again? I don't think Marc.
Yeah, we weren't done with our Cespedes conversation.
Oh, you're done with the Cespedes conversation.
Okay, so Doc, you don't think there's nothing like if you were in a situation where you wanted to work out before, go have a brisk run before work, and it wasn't convenient to go home.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, you're not like, you wouldn't have a problem changing your clothes in a locker room.
No, I mean that's not an issue. No.
Yeah, do you think it's weird if someone has an issue when they're an adult male that they can't change their clothes in a locker room?
I'm not changing my underwear in the locker room.
Why? So you couldn't change your underwear in a locker room? What do you think is going to happen?
Does this locker room have private stalls?
No, this is just like you change a locker room. You're in a locker. There are guys next to you. You take off your underwear, put a different pair of underwear on.
Nope.
Yeah, there's no issue with that. Why is there an issue? I don't get it.
Because you're Jay, and you have issues with things.
Yeah. No, I would not do that.
Okay. Here at Video Editing Inc., we edit all the Marvel movies, Jay. You'll love it, and we've quadrupled your salary. Let's get started for work. Just change your underwear, and we'll go.
Yeah, that seems totally normal.
Jay, are you going to keep this job?
Nope.
Jay, if you want to be part of the team, you got to put on the Marvel, the video editor underwear in front of us so we can see your dick.
I think Jay would do it. I think he would figure out a way.
Would you do it, Jay? We're gonna quadruple your salary. You just got to change.
Yeah, for quadruple salary, I think he would do it.
Is he here or is he not?
I'm thinking.
Are you taking a shit?
You're thinking as if the job offer is really coming. Just make a decision.
Yeah, I would figure a way out.
You'd figure a way. What's figure a way? What does that mean? You have to actually do it. You have to change it. Like you can go. There's a locker room. Not every guy in the office is going to be in the locker room. There's like you don't have to do it. You're not doing it at the main conference table. But you're going to go to the locker room because everyone at work comes here. They all take showers together. And they
can we move on? Can we move on?
No, I want to address this. You would okay. Let's just say if you got to be a video editor, which is your dream.
Yeah.
Chuck, did you know this that his dream in life is to be a video editor?
I did know this because I've known him for like 30 years or something.
Yeah. I figured you knew this. So, and 30 years ago, you weren't like, "Hey, you want to be a video editor?" That can't be hard.
No, we I think 30-something years ago, we wanted to be Ninja Turtles and probably He-Man.
Turns out
that was relatively new thing that he wanted to be a video editor.
Turns out being a video editor and being a Ninja Turtle, both out of reach. So Jay, you have to go to this job. You get paid double your salary, and you have to shower because they're like, we want to make sure everyone's clean at work. You have to take a shower. Will you take a shower at work in individual stalls in the locker room?
Yes.
What if it's the exact same salary?
And what am I doing?
You're just taking a shower, or like you do.
What am I video editing?
Yeah, you're video editing. This is what your dream is. Like some reason at your video editing job, you have to shower when you get there.
Yeah, I would figure it out. Yeah.
You'd figure it out?
Yeah.
And what if your boss, to make sure you're showered, smells your balls?
Okay, that's retarded.
But remember, you're making less money than you're making now.
All right. We should probably move on.
We can move on. And I'm saying, if you came here for Trump and you heard about smelling balls, you would probably like the show. The blue collar American that voted for Trump would probably love our show. I think so. We don't have. It's not like we have a lot of like these bourgeois like listeners who are like, oh, I'm an investment banker. I make $100 million a year, but I also listen to Brink of Sanity.
Yeah.
Most of our listening audience is broke, I imagine. Or not broke, but like whatever.
You mean
it's like they're
millionaires.
normal Americans, basically.
Yeah, not millionaires.
Yeah, we don't have anyone being like, oh, I have millions of dollars to donate, and I'm just gonna throw it at the Brink of Sanity show.
Yeah. Or I have millions of dollars,
that'd be
and
awesome.
I'm not gonna buy one of their 6 remaining shirts because it's driving Jay up the wall.
Yeah, I think if someone on our show was a big fan of the show and was making millions of dollars a year, they'd buy a $7 T-shirt. Just saying.
So okay, moving on. It got reposted. I took your facial memory test thing.
Oh my god. Yeah. So this is my deficiency as a human being. Wait, hang on. So Doc's on the show and he didn't take it.
Yes, but we could just tell him what it is.
Okay. So I'll explain. This is my issue. I have my entire life have been bad with faces. To the point people I'd see people like, and they'd be like, oh, I think even like in college I'd see a girl and like talk to her like I just met her, and she'd be like, oh, I've met you like 4 times, Mark, and you're pretty much not getting anywhere now with me. Like,
yeah, I'm good with faces, but I'm bad with names.
So people are always like, well, you should pay some goddamn attention when you speak to people. You're an asshole. It makes me feel like I'm an asshole for not remembering faces when there's a chance that maybe I have just an issue, and you should be a little more sensitive to that.
When we do the next meetup, Mark, are you going to know what I look like?
Probably not. So there's a thing called Doc. Have you ever heard of? You're a doctor. You may have heard of it. There's something called facial blindness.
I don't know if I've heard of that. Actually.
Oh well, whatever. Now you're being educated, boy. From what I understand, the part of the brain that is deals with regular memory is different from the part of the brain that recognizes faces.
Right.
And there's like a condition where you have an inability to recognize faces. And that's the extreme where you're like, there was a guy I remember reading about who like his wife would have to wear a certain, like tell him what hat she was wearing because he could recognize the hat but couldn't recognize her face.
Okay.
And so anyway, I found a test online. So like I imagine there's degrees that I can recognize my goddamn wife. I can recognize Jay. I can recognize Doc. But I'm generally bad with faces. And how this comes up in particular is we moved to a new town. And we're meeting all these people, and I meet these people and then see them later on and have no idea who they are. And my wife is really not happy. She's like, we're not going to be very good at making friends if you're an asshole.
Yeah.
These other people moved here that we kind of knew from the city, or not even knew to the city. Like our kids used to play together in school, and they moved here. And we ended up spending the entire day basically at their house. Then the following weekend, my son has a soccer game. I see the woman, and I was like, she says hi to me, and I'm like, oh, hi. I have no idea who she is.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, oh, we're trying to make friends. What the fuck's wrong with you? We spent the day at their goddamn house. It's not like you just met. You spent 24 fucking hours basically with them, and you don't remember. And I'm like, well, later on, I saw her later and recognized her. It was just out of context. I didn't recognize her. And she's like, out of context? What the hell's wrong? So anyway, I started reading up more on this stuff. I found an online test.
Yeah.
And so I do the online test, and I'm going to find out what Jay's score in a second is.
Uh-huh.
And I thought this online test was pretty goddamn hard. They show you a series of faces, and then you see them in different situations. You have to pick them out, and get the test goes like. I think the test gets really, really hard.
Right.
And so I did the test. I scored a 64%.
Okay.
And I was like, and by the way, they say 60% and below you're facially blind.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I wonder how other people are going to do. So I sent it to everyone at work. I'm like, hey, everyone at work, do this now.
Yeah.
And they're all like, I got a 95%. Yeah, that was really hard. I got a 93. Yeah, that was really hard. Everyone else got a 90%. Everyone got in the 90s. Everyone else I talked to, I sent it to my family. I'm like, I don't understand. So maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. I did it again, and I guess the answers are the same the second time. I got like a 66% or something, or 67%. Yeah, I never saw what the correct answers were. But you do it twice, you figure like the face do it even better. I'm doing it the second time. I'm just guessing half the time.
Yeah.
Because I had just no.
You may just be like that's not your strong suit, I guess.
I think, and I told my wife, I explained this to her, and like she did it, and she got in the 90s also. I'm like, honey, I am disabled. You should not make fun of me anymore. I have a real disability.
I didn't take the test, but I would guess I would probably get in the 80s because I'm probably worse than most people. But my job kind of requires me to be good at that, so I've probably gotten better at it.
Well, it got really hard after a while because first it's one person, and you see it from 3 different angles, and then you'll see like 3 people, and you have to pick the one person. And you're like, all right, that's easy. But then they show 6 people with just a straight-on angle, and then like they'll show a lineup, and it could be any one of those 6 people and any angle. And then they start showing pictures with like television static over their face, so like you could barely see any of their features.
Oh, I was guessing at that point. It's also so it's not just at first it would be just explain it further. It would be they'd show one person, then show a lineup of 3 people, and you have to figure out which one it was. Not that hard. But then it would be they show you 6 faces and go memorize these 6 faces, and then they'd show you lineups of 3 people and go, is any of these 3 people one of the 6 people you just saw? And I'd be like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I would probably not do so well at that either.
But Jay, so how did you do?
I got an 83.
I think that's where I would. I think that's where I would be.
Says the average score on this test is 80, and 60 is facial blindness.
Yeah, everyone I talked to at work, everyone I gave it to got like either very high A's or 90s on this. I gave this I might have had like 10 or 12 people do this, and they all did really well on it. We should send this to you, Doc, but it takes like 20 minutes to do or 15 minutes to do, so you can't do it.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
But like, I think I have like a real like. So
that seems interesting. Yes, I feel like some people are just better at. Like, I'm really bad with names. I cannot like when I meet people. Like, there's something that happens that I just forget their names instantly as soon as it happens.
I'm bad at names too, but that's something like you could like work on. I feel like you could work on. You could like say the names yourself, and you're trying to think of the next thing to say, so you forget the name.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like faces, how do I work on your face? Like I meet someone and like I stare extra long into their eyes, and then we definitely aren't going to make friends in here.
Yeah. I guess that's just one of those things. It's just the way your brain works, I guess. You know, it's probably because you're looking at other thing, or you're like something else is going on in your head that's not.
This happened today. So one of the people in town that my kids in my son's class. I mean, like I've talked to. I've ran to him a couple times, talked to him. He's Indian also, and so I'm sitting on the train today, and it's a 3-seater. I'm on the end, and then the other guy's sitting like there's a space in between, and the Indian guy, I'm pretty sure that's him. And I wanted to say hi to him, but he didn't like look up at me. Didn't look up, so maybe he didn't see me. But then and he'd walked past, and he came back, and he ended up sitting down next to me. And he's sitting down next to me, and I'm like, well, I'm bad with faces, but it's weird that he's sitting down next to me, and he didn't even acknowledge. I've talked to this guy a couple of times, but then I'm like, I don't think all Indian people look alike. I'm not like, I don't understand, but I'm also bad with faces. And I'm like, I'm going to say hey at some point. I had to say hey. I can't like ride the train for the next 40 minutes with this guy sitting next to me.
That's weird.
That's really weird. So I'm like, I'm going to say hi, hey, and he's going to look at me, and he's going to be like, who the fuck are you? Because it's going to be a different guy. I'm going to feel like a real asshole because and I'm like, it's not that I can't tell. I can't tell anyone apart. But
if he sat next to you, it's okay to say hi.
Well, because he sat next to me and just didn't notice me.
Okay.
And so I did say hi, and then I talked to him for the next 40 minutes. And be like a real nice guy, but like he's like, wow, he's like, I didn't realize I sat next to you, or maybe he just didn't like me and he just was trying to really avoid.
But it was that person.
It was that person, yeah. I was like, yeah, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've talked to this person enough times.
Yeah.
I think it's, but you know,
well, he did the same thing. He didn't recognize you either, so.
I don't think he ever looked. I don't think he actually saw. I don't think he actually saw the person sitting next to him.
I think that's my issue. I don't actually look at people like.
The woman I didn't recognize. We then subsequently had a play date with her, and our nanny went there, and our nanny apparently hadn't had seen her before but didn't recognize her either, and our nanny. I don't know why everyone is, but she's Indian also, and she was like, yeah, but you know, like at the school they all look alike to me. And I was like, it's totally cool if you're saying that about white people. Because
I think in my case, like sometimes I just don't look at people. Like, you know, you're like talking to them, but you're not like really focusing on looking at them.
Yeah,
and that might be the issue.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's part of it, but this test I was trying to really look at the people.
Yeah,
and
so that's a different thing, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm like, I think. Do you think it's reasonable that I would get handicap parking?
No, because. Why would that mean that you have to park closer to things? That doesn't.
I don't know.
Sense.
Like the guy sitting on wheels has to he should be able to park further away. He's sitting down.
But like walking doesn't require you to notice faces.
They don't have like a fine line of disabilities. A disability is a disability. You're just an asshole for like me. You're apparently in Trump America. You're allowed to put down disabilities. I'm saying I should. Could you write me a note, Doc?
This guy cannot recognize faces, therefore he needs to park closer to places.
Some person like stops you like, oh, why you get to park there? What's your disability? I can't recognize who you are.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean like it's and maybe like they're like, oh, you mean like you can't recognize your car? No, I totally recognize my car. I mean, like, my car. I'm just like people. I can't recognize people.
Yeah, I mean, you could be my brother. I don't know.
I feel like also out of context, I am horrible. The guy I sit next to on the train today, if I run into him in New York, and apparently his office is near me, if I run into him in New York City tomorrow, like walking by, he'll say, hey, and I'll say, hi. Like have you guys seen Memento?
Yeah.
Yes. That's a great movie.
Great movie. Also, it's like 25 years old, so I should make a reference for it now. There's a part in the movie where he talks about the guy like who basically had trouble remembering people, so he just pretended to know everyone. And that's me in real life. I have to pretend to know people because I don't know if we've met or not. And every once in a while, I'll go somewhere and there's someone I don't recognize, but like they're with a friend of mine, and I'll be like, "Oh, hey," and I'll never introduce myself until they'll be like, "Oh, I'm Todd." I'm like, "Oh, thank God, I had no idea who you were." But I don't. But
you know what I think, Mark? I think there's probably like 10% of the population that are in your boat. Like it's pretty common thing probably. There's probably lots of people out there that just pretend to know everybody. That's how they get by. It's some people are better at other things than It's just
see. I'm like
that's just one of your things.
I'm like Mark, but with names. Like if somebody tells me
that's
their
what
name,
I said. Yeah,
we just well, you're not. What were you doing, Jay?
no, but I'm like really bad. Like if somebody tells
Jay's
me,
like, "Hey, why don't we talk about Trump on the podcast too? I haven't been here the entire time."
no, but it's not like the next day I won't remember their name. I won't remember their name literally like a minute later.
Oh well, this guy actually who I sat next to, I remember his son's name. So his name, he's like, we exchanged numbers, and his name is in my phone is like his son's name's dad. Like I put his son's name there because I can't remember. I don't know his name, and I'm like, oh great. There's plenty of people I've known. Like I knew this guy in college who I didn't know his name, but I was like, every time I see him, I talk to him. We became friendlier and friendlier, and I was in a class with him, and I was like, oh, this is getting awkward, and I really talk to this person, and so I tried to like learn his name, and his name was Evran, because I saw it like we wrote it on his paper, and if you saw that name, would you pronounce it out loud?
Everett?
I've tried to.
No, but like, would you be like in like conversation? You haven't been using this person's name. We'd be like, yeah. So Everett, you see that game? Or would you just like, okay, I've got the name. Never gonna say it out loud until necessary.
Right. Yeah,
It's not like it was Dave where I'm comfortable saying the name Dave.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Sometimes you just have to do it and then fail and then be like, okay, how do you actually say it?
I just do the one-way introduction. I'll make sure I meet up with them and somebody else I know and only introduce one side of it.
Yeah, like the Seinfeld thing, right?
That was a Seinfeld thing?
They had a thing on Seinfeld. I tried to do that I ran into other people we knew on the train as we were getting off, and I'm like, oh, these people live right by us. Introduce yourselves out loud. But then they didn't.
Yeah, like if there's a weird name, I'll remember that. But if it's like Dave or Jason or Mark or whatever, if it's a common name, I'll totally forget it because it's just so common that like it won't ring in my head to be like remember this. Yeah. I don't know why.
If it's a completely weird face, like they're missing an eye, I'll remember it. But I think I'm going to make a support group for those of us, the 10% of the population. Only issue is we're probably going to have trouble meeting up.
Yeah, you're like, who the fuck are you? Oh, I'm in the group.
We've had meetings for like the last 10 weeks. Oh, you guys were all there? We're the only people there with you.
90% of the meeting every week is just introducing each other.
Doesn't my wife owe me an apology now?
I think so.
I think a little bit, yeah.
Like, it'd be like, oh, hey, remember how I was ripping on you for being slow? I didn't realize you were like a paraplegic. I have to apologize. Same idea, same thing.
I think you're slightly autistic.
I might be. Is it wrong to apologize to an autistic person? Is it like you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I treated you normally. I didn't realize you're retarded.
But a truly autistic person won't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think my wife should be saying to me, listen, I didn't understand you were living with this. Maybe we should get a documentary crew to follow you around and tell your story to the world. And then the documentary crew is like following me and be like, tell us about life like this. Well, you know what? When you showed up at my house today, I know we had met yesterday. I didn't quite recognize you. Do we have to fill the rest of the show?
I thought you guys were just perverts with cameras.
So
see that person? I may have met them before. I don't know. I have a condition.
Our email is thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com. Lorenzo writes, if you were a decent level hacker, how much free shit do you reckon you would be getting? I mean, it won't be like a movie where you have to hack into a bank and do a cash grab, nor would it be like Ferris Bueller where you log in and change your grades or absence days. Do you reckon you could hack into a gym and get a free membership? What other low-level hacks would you do to your benefit? Also, I'm fairly certain you didn't end up reviewing the Mr. Robot finale.
That is a lie. We definitely reviewed it. Did we do it on the show, though?
Well, if it's not on the show, did it actually happen?
Yeah, or if it was on the show, did it actually happen? I think, is there any, just to go to Trump 1 second, is there any point in your mind you were like, the Russians kind of hackers got all those email addresses. Any chance they like changed the election slightly?
Oh, I totally thought about that. That was my first instinct.
They moved over 300,000 votes. And suddenly we have a different president.
I mean, I was like thinking about like all they had to do was fix like 1 or 2 states to like change the election, probably.
Yeah, Florida and Pennsylvania. You move over a couple of votes, a couple 100,000 votes, which in the all, it's not a very small percentage. I bet InfoWars didn't have that conspiracy, Jay.
No, definitely not.
What are they going to do now with the conspiracy?
They went off the rails. I think they were panicking that Trump was going to lose the day before the election because they had articles about Hillary being in a satanic cult and drinking like blood and semen drinks, and like it got so insane.
Actually, let me say that honestly, I think Trump thought he was going to lose. Like I thought he was basically convinced. Like whatever like thing they had in Manhattan, it was like a small venue. Like I think he was convinced that he was going to lose there. That's why he didn't have like a celebration kind of thing set up. I'm pretty sure he was like totally shocked at the fact that he won at this. Like
really, I feel like Donald Trump kind of like, like to be Donald Trump, you have to assume things are going to work out. Like you're overly.
No, I think at the end, I think they thought it was pretty bleak. Like,
well, they say like generally those people who are really successful in business are those people who have an inordinate sense of optimism. They just assume things are going to work out.
I agree. Trump's like that, but I think at the right before the election, there was so much negative. Like the polls were all negative. I think he might have been convinced at that point that he was not going to win. I mean, I think it came as a shock to him as much as anybody else.
I kind of think when he started running that he didn't think he was going to win, but who the hell knows? I mean, but yeah, maybe you're right.
I think at the end, I think it like, I don't know, Hillary, like it seemed like she was going to win, and then holy shit.
Yeah, based on all the polls, which apparently like Huffington Post, they had a 98% chance she was going to win because apparently they only surveyed Bill.
Yeah. No, well, I think it was like
Post...
60, I think it was like really probably like 60 to 70%. Like
no. Well, no.
If you averaged all the different probabilities.
Well, 538.com, the Nate Silver one had it like 70%, and people gave them shit for being like, why do you think it's so close? But Huffington Post had it 98%. New York Times had it 88% for their final poll.
Yeah, but a lot of these polls, they would poll like 60% Democrats, so like the results were skewed.
Well, I mean, apparently that's true. Obviously, like they obviously screwed up in their polling.
Right. Well, I just don't get how they.
Polls are difficult because you don't know how many people are actually going to like take the effort into voting. You know, like what percent of the population is actually going to do it. Like a bunch of Hillary people might have just stayed home. You know?
Well, I assume these companies that make a lot of money doing this have pretty highly sophisticated ways of doing it. And up to like in other elections, they've been pretty accurate. But it really went off the rails here.
No, they were totally wrong this time.
Like even Nate Silver was supposed to be really good at it. Like I guess like some of it was in the statistical error or close to it. But like he's like the results were probably a little bit below what like even like the statistical like it was. He's not sure why theirs were off either. And they
one thing I'll say is there was a statistician that came on like before, this was like 6 months ago, that was like, it's very highly probable that the Republican will win this election just based on like trends of like, Obama's a Democrat. He's been in office for 8 years. So it's basically skewed against the Democrats because it's always against the current party that's in.
Yeah. If you're a 4-year term, if you're your first term, you have the advantage for re-election. But after 8 years, your party's in
trouble.
Yeah. Like George Bush Sr. was a rarity because he actually got elected after an 8-year term.
Right. But then he lost like 4 years later.
Yeah.
So I think that was because, I think it's just like the statistics basically say, the longer you've been in power at any party, the more likely you are to lose power, basically.
Yeah, and also the part of it also is that, like, for the most part, they spend 8 years doing jack shit for the average American. And so after 8 years, and most of the time they're just fighting each other, so you're like, I want change. Like, in the last 8 years, like, if you're not paying that much attention, you're just like, they did nothing. The rich got richer, not much change for me. Why wouldn't I want someone else?
Well, except the fact that when Obama took over, we were basically, like, in a recession and fucked, basically.
But people have short memories, so like
Yeah,
that like
no,
that
it's
gets
true.
better.
It's true.
Like
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
what was his question?
15 minutes later. Low-level hacker.
Doc, I have a question for you, Doc. Did you watch The Wire?
I watched like I haven't watched too much of it. Just like the first three episodes. Sorry.
You gotta watch it. I'm watching it the second time. It's actually amazing on the second watch.
Are you just seeing how many tangents you could go on without answering Lorenzo's question?
I think so. Low-level hack. So what would we do with an average ability to hack?
The thing about hacking is it's very labor intensive, and if you're gonna do the hacking and you're gonna do low level things, it's not worth your time. Like you put all that effort into hacking something, and then you get like a small, a gym membership or whatever.
I think he's saying you're not that good at it. You can break into like firewalls that aren't that like, things that aren't that well protected.
Yeah. What if you were good enough that it only took you like 2 minutes, but you weren't good enough to do like high security level stuff?
Yeah, but even that, like, there's a lot of effort that goes into getting to that point.
You took all the fun out of the question.
Like, why would you waste your time?
Why is Doc still talking? Yeah, so I think I would hack into the Brink of Sanity account and have coherent questions of the day. I think someone should hack into our account and put question of the day up for us. What do you think, Jay? Or actually, someone should hack into the Brink of Sanity account and change it to the Donald Trump account.
I would hack into a movie studio and put my name under the edited by at the end of movies, just so I could feel like I edited movies.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
I won.
How else are we supposed to answer this question?
I would have hacked into the employee handbook at Jay's job and add that he has to shower with men at work.
I would hack into Marc's Fitbits, and no matter how fast or slow he walked, he would be completely wrong in our argument.
Pretty sure I don't use a Fitbit, so fuck you. I'd hack into the Disabilities Act and add facial blindness.
Okay. Thank you, Lorenzo. And we have one more email from Lorenzo.
MVP of emails.
MVP of emails. Hey guys, I was listening to the latest episode while vacuuming the house with headphones. Mark's voice cut above the noise of the vac, so I could hear it very well, but Jay's voice is pretty much in line with the noise, so I couldn't hear it as well. That's just an FYI in case your target audience does a lot of vacuuming. Well,
Jay was recovering from surgery, wasn't he?
Yeah, in fairness.
Jay, how much to legally change your name to Vac Boy?
Jay?
I upped my volume a little bit, so try vacuuming during the next episode and let me know how it works out.
Your voice is a lot better, probably.
Yeah.
Serious question. If I send you to $50, are you going to really do it?
Yeah, I already bought the domain.
Okay, I'm sending you $50 right now.
Okay.
You'll get a check in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Wait, you guys aren't using like Venmo or something like that?
I don't know about technology, Doc.
Yeah, I know. Everyone has Venmo. I have no idea what it is.
Doc, I'm going to go into like...
It's how to pay people, like your friends. Like if you pay for a cab, and then you could just give them money, basically.
Oh, I use money, but no, it's a good idea.
No,
I don't.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as PayPal, right?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone had PayPal, yeah.
Well, then how does Venmo different?
It's the same. It goes from your bank account to their bank account, basically. Like.
Okay. You've won us over, Venmo salesman.
I don't know. It's not. There's more than like Venmo. There's other apps that do the same shit.
Well, now I have already been convinced to Venmo. I need someone else, a salesman from that competitor, to like convince me why it's better than Venmo.
Okay.
How often do you use Venmo?
I mean, not too often, but it's useful in certain situations where there's a lot of money being exchanged.
If you're going to send me $10 in Venmo, what's the process? You go on there, you type in my email address.
No, you just go to the app on your phone and you send them $10 to Mark, and you put.
How do I receive it? Do I have to have Venmo also?
Can we do the tutorial later?
Yeah, you both have to have an account, basically. And you link it to your bank account, I link it to my bank account, and I just send you the money.
Can we do the Venmo tutorial later?
Yeah. He asked me the question. I
No, I know,
didn't
but you
want
got to
to-
keep Mark like reined in, or the show ends up being like 5 hours.
Sorry.
We have 30 questions on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
All right, do the Facebook. Steven apparently is flipping out about you reading the questions. So,
Okay. I will read the questions. Okay. John writes, who might be the MVP of Facebook questions? Do any of you like sauerkraut? If not, why?
I don't like sauerkraut at all.
Okay, sauerkraut is like in Germany. It's actually awesome.
Oh, yeah?
The stuff they sell here is terrible.
What? How much different does it taste in Germany?
It's totally different. It's
It's like drinking a Guinness in Ireland.
It's totally like that. Yes, I like completely a good analogy.
I'd say sauerkraut's not bad. I do like sauerkraut. I mean, I don't eat it outside of a hot dog or maybe on a hamburger. And I actually think it's not a bad topping for a hamburger.
Hamburger? What's wrong with you?
Whatever.
It's hot dog, right?
I understand it's for a hot dog, but it's kind of the same thing. There's just a meat on a bun. What's the difference? They're both probably the exact same meat.
It's like gross lettuce.
Yeah, it's cabbage, isn't it? What is it?
Maybe it's pickled cabbage.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
It's
we've
disgusting.
let's if it's not pickled cabbage, could someone send us a long
Yes.
email explaining what it is with the recipe? If anyone's a German listener, could you tell us if sauerkraut is better there? Rosero writes, Trump bitches.
Great.
I think
Was
we
there
covered that. I think we covered that.
Rosero writes, we have more Trump questions. Trump will lose? Sad face. Hillary has way too many connections in the media. Rosario was wrong.
It was wrong.
Ha ha, Rosario. You're
Ha-ha.
wrong. Our country's fucked.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, nuclear war to proceed.
Bry, who's not on the show today, wrote, if we had done a live election night show, you would have got to hear an epic meltdown by yours truly. How do you think people had asked us to do a live show on the election? How do you think that would have gone, Jay?
Huh.
Well, we would have been mad, but we wouldn't have had the full results unless we did like a 5-hour show or
Yeah.
recorded
By
it
11
like one of the
by
morning.
It went
11
on
o'clock.
pretty late.
Yeah. We released a 7-hour episode.
I think at like 11 o'clock, it still was kind of up in the air. It took a few hours to kind of realize the
Yeah.
extent of the situation.
I don't know. I was at a bar and with other people, but like we were talking about the election, and I couldn't even talk about the election that much. I was like, we got to talk about something else while we're killing time here.
Yeah.
I can't talk about just spend the whole time talking about what's going on in Florida, what's going on. I'm like, we need to talk about something else. Andrew writes, what country is Jay moving to?
Andrew
My
is the MVP of Facebook questions.
Yes. And my stepbrother, who I haven't heard from since, swore he's leaving the country.
Can we do a top 10 of countries we should move to?
Sure. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna start off with Costa Rica, my number one.
Oh, Costa Rica! I love Costa Rica. I was there for 10 days, like 4 years ago. It was the best.
I'm seriously giving Australia a hard look.
Australia, my brother just went there. I heard it's awesome.
I studied there in college for 6 months, and I'd say it's a good place.
The only reason I haven't gone there is it's like a 20-hour plane ride over there. That's the only reason.
So I studied there in 2000, and around that time they elected this guy, Prime Minister Howard. I forget his first name. Anyway, apparently, so the way we have Native Americans here. What are you doing?
Sorry.
They have the Aborigine people. They're the original people there. The prime minister was outwardly racist about them, and that was a big thing there. How they just elected a guy who outwardly was just outwardly racist about them. So I'm glad we weren't that far behind Australia. But Australia, I'll say Australia is Australia one of my number two. I don't know. Canada, you get healthcare, but it's cold.
Well, sir, they get healthcare.
Doc, are you doing this in your refrigerator? The show?
I mean, they get healthcare.
Does he not understand how loud that is?
Focus, Mark.
I can't focus.
You know he's getting a beer. Just deal with it.
Doc, do you want to vacuum during the show?
Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna go my number 2. I'll go with Australia. I like that. Wait, is it gonna be easy to like? Is it gonna be? Assuming it's gonna be easy to like actually settle down in that country.
Yes, yeah, because there's probably a whole lot of things you have to do to get to different
Probably
countries.
paperwork. Yeah. I'm gonna go Thailand. I want to live in Thailand. I like the food there.
I love the food there, but it's so goddamn hot.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the temperature would probably be a deal breaker.
Like you would be indoors like 10 months a year.
What about Italy? It's run by the mafia and the food's good.
Yeah, Italy's up there.
Italy's nice, but it's a little run down economically. Like there's a lot of slum areas.
Doc, you know where's run down economically? You know what place? Everywhere else in the world. Kind of.
Yeah. Some countries more than others, probably. But yeah.
The Norwegian countries are supposed to be great to live in, but they're so damn cold.
I know. Yeah, like the top 7 countries of quality of life is like Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway.
I don't know how they say how they figured it out. Like Finland, they're so damn happy there, but it's freaking cold out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like it's cold here like 4 months of the year at least. So
yeah, it's like cold there like 10 months of the year.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with the Norwegian countries. I'll go with like Finland or.
Okay, that'll be like 3 through 8 for us, just so we can.
Yeah, I don't know, Doc. What else?
I guess it's like top 10, but I would just throw out there like things like I liked Ireland when I went there. That was nice.
We're not really sticking to our list anymore. We're just throwing out countries.
Ireland, Germany, New Zealand.
Sure. Germany is awesome, except for the fact that I don't think I could ever learn German.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That's
the only downside to Germany.
Could I live in Dominican Republic if I can only stay on the resort the entire time?
That's not really living. That's just vacationing.
Yeah, there are a lot of good countries. I don't know.
Okay, next question.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew writes, who did all of Mark's aunt's votes for? So you know what? Oh, the news of the week also. We found ants in the basement. Because why the hell not when we find ants in the basement? They were in the bathroom next door. They were in the kitchen. I mean, it has been epic battles with ants. I thought we finally had them, and they were like, oh, we can get in the basement.
I think they probably voted for Trump because they don't want to be taxed. Like, who wants to be taxed?
Doc, I don't think I've talked to you about this. I don't know if you've heard about my ant issue.
I've been listening to the podcast. I've heard of it.
Okay. My kid's bathroom was covered with ants. I came home once from a Met game. It was covered. It was unbelievable. These little ants everywhere, and we've been battling them. And now they use some kind of whatever poison that like kills your family off slowly. They use that on the ants, and the ants are like gone from the bathroom, and they're gone from the kitchen. I'm sure they'll be back. We have to have a lifetime contract with this company to kill the ants.
Yeah.
I think the company just comes over and drops some ants off in our house every once in a while.
I know. Like my parents had an issue with termites. It was like they just would not go away ever.
Well, they say on Long Island, the termite guy, I guess he would say this. He's like, in Long Island, they say they say either you have termites or either you have termites or you're getting termites.
Yeah. It's impossible to get rid of them.
Yeah, so like that's why we have to have like termite, which we let ours lapse, so we actually probably have to get our termite thing again. But anyway, we found them in the goddamn basement, and I'm like, this is perfect. They're all over the goddamn basement floor. This is goddamn. But the exterminator came. He supposedly found where they're coming through, and I haven't seen any more down there. But I haven't looked that closely because I don't go down there that often. So, but my kids play down there a lot, so they play with Play-Doh and ants, whatever. But I'm assuming my ants, they are kind of rude and obnoxious, so they voted Trump probably.
Yeah.
But they also kind of want to mooch off of me, so maybe Hillary. Andrew writes, does this prove that Jay is a closet Trump fan? What happens when you scratch off the Baruch writing? Jay so there's a picture of Jay wearing his Baruch College shirt and Trump wearing a Make America Great hat, and they both kind of look the same.
Yeah, when I graduated, Baruch gave me this Baruch College alumni hat, and it looks a lot like the Make America Great Again hat.
Also, in the picture, I don't know why Jay smiles. Like, I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but they're like, okay, for this picture, make sure you look embarrassed to be a Baruch College graduate. You have like a weird expression on your face in that picture. You know that, right?
Yeah, because that was when I found out that they're like lowering the amount of credits you need to graduate by like 16 right after I finished. So I was like super pissed off.
Funny picture. Andrew writes, which female superhero do you most fantasize about? Good question, Andrew.
Probably either
Jay,
Hmm?
what percentage of time have you think you spent of your whacking off time whacking off the female superheroes? I think you probably are a higher percentage than the rest of us.
I like Magma and Psylocke.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look these up.
Yeah.
Doc, do you know? Are these ones that you're familiar with?
No, not at all.
Magmar is a Pokemon.
Magma.
Oh, I thought you were like whacking up the Pokemon Go. Now I just see actual lava.
Oh, yeah.
Magma superhero.
Just type in Magma.
Really?
Yeah.
I found her. Really?
Well, not when she's in like fire form.
I mean, here's one. She looks kind of hot, I guess. Who's the other one?
Psylocke.
CILA.
CILA
I don't know.
PSYLOCKE.
Oh, obviously it was a P. Yeah, I don't know why I would assume it starts with a silent P because our language is so goddamn retarded. Do you, Doc? Do you think the way we spell things makes any sense?
We as in the English language, or
Yeah, English language. Not
no,
like.
but I mean, I don't know. Language is it's just the way it is. It's nothing.
Stupid is just the way it is.
I guess. I mean, it's not a logical thing. It's just the way people learn to speak to each other.
But but wouldn't you just like spell everything phonetically so you could communicate better?
All right, let's not redo last week's show.
I'm just asking me, does it make sense that the ch sound gets no individual letter, but but the k sound gets 2 letters? How do you spell Psylocke?
PSYLOCKE.
Okay, I found Psylocke. They have a costume. Oh, she's not bad. though I found like a real like someone who's playing her.
Yeah, it's Olivia Munn.
Oh yeah, she's hot.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I didn't recognize her face.
What's her face?
Yeah. So, Doc, which female superheroes do you jack off to?
I don't know. I mean,
If you had to.
If you had to, I don't know that many female superheroes, unfortunately.
Okay, just choose some male ones.
I don't jack off to superheroes.
I'm just saying, you got to choose one here. Why is so? Steven's question's coming up soon. Steven no longer has a picture with his name. It's just a black box. Steven, what the hell's wrong with you?
He probably.
All right, I'm gonna Google female superheroes and pick one.
Can't you just say Wonder Woman so we can move on?
Guys,
that's the only superhero I know that's a female.
I have to say, I was reading my son like a how to read superhero book. Like it was like a little comic book, and it was like a Wonder Woman comic. And I was like, man, she looks kind of hot in this picture, this comic book for my son. Andrew writes, why does Jay hate Vision so much? I mean, he gets to marry Scarlet Witch. Andrew, you can't ask in-depth comic book questions without explaining. You just can't ask them on the show, okay? Let's move on.
When Vision first, I could do this one quick.
No, I know we can. Steven writes.
You want to go on your goddamn tangents every 5 seconds and then not let me answer an actual question from a listener? You son of a bitch.
No,
So
let him answer.
So when Vision joined the X-Men, every single goddamn issue when they got into a fight, he would explain how he used his power. And that's all he did. He never said or did anything else. He would just say, I am the Vision, and I could change my density from solid as a diamond to thin as air. And that was literally every issue, and that's all he did and said. He sucks.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Steven writes, how many white guys has Rosero cucked? I don't think I guess that means cuckolded, I guess. Cucked is the short.
Well, Rosero isn't co-hosting the show, so we won't be able to answer that one.
Okay. Steven writes, how many times has Marc's girl been blacked? Steven writes, how does Mark sit on a black dildo? Steven writes, how long until Trump starts building death camps? How excited are you? I'm hyped. For the death camps? Steven writes, Mexican genocide. When? Question mark. Steven writes, Steven was right again. Trump won. How salty are you guys? Steven writes, Tila Tequila voted Trump. Tila Tequila greater than Mark and Jay. Thoughts? Question mark. Steven writes, I must speak for Canada and set the record straight, all right? We don't want you. Jay, fuck off.
I wouldn't want to go to Canada anyway, because if I went to Canada, that means Steven could then get me.
That's why it's last on our list.
Yeah.
Steven writes, the Knicks suck and the President Trump has arrived. How salty is Jay? Did he cry like all feminists on YouTube?
Knicks won yesterday.
Is it a thing that feminists cry on YouTube?
They are doing crying YouTube videos about Hillary.
Steven writes, found a dope Android game called The Quest. It is an iOS. I don't even know what that means. As well.
That's iPhone.
Real game with no microtransactions. It's like those PC RPGs from the 90s. It's baller as fuck. Steven writes, SJWs get fucked. Next 4 years are going to be brilliant. Just waiting for the death camps to pop up. Read this, you bitch. Topics, too, not just questions. Okay, Doc, what do you think about death camps? Good or bad?
Yeah.
Steven's questions really lead to a lot of conversation on the show. Steven said, they found a new serial killer. 7 bodies so far. Was it me? Question mark. 7 bodies. That's better. Okay, where are the 7 bodies? Let's see. Source identifies. That's 2015. 3rd body found on South Carolina. What do you think would happen if Donald Trump was found to be the serial killer? Would they be like, well, gotta respect the democratic process?
He says it like it is, so he's fine.
Yeah, he would probably get reelected.
I mean, do we know if he killed losers?
Right.
There's no time to be politically correct, you know.
I wouldn't have been able to kill them if they weren't weak.
Yeah. Steven writes, please have Bri on the podcast soon. Doc, are you Bri?
No.
He gives a top 3 then, and the number 1 is Peter.
I'm
Number
actually
2
going to
is
see Bri tomorrow for the first time in like 6 years.
You're going to see Bri tomorrow?
Yeah.
Really?
He's visiting?
He said he's got some like work thing in Manhattan, and he'll have like an hour afterwards to meet up. So
cool. I'll see you there. Why was I invited? What the hell?
Yeah, I'll show up too.
You guys want it? Let's all crash. We could all meet his girlfriends.
Where's that?
His girlfriend's coming?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we meet her and go like, you're Bri's girlfriend? And Bri's like, no, don't tell her.
Yeah, I think we should all show up.
Where are you meeting him?
64th and like west side of Central Park.
All right, let's go. Let's all show up.
Okay.
So 1 was Peter, 2 was Bri, 3 was Doc. Doc, you were in the top 3.
Fuck yeah. I'm not on this a lot, but thanks.
It's okay. I'm on this a lot. I didn't make the top 3. Steven writes, does Austin play tour? I'm going to say, does he mean Toronto? And does he mean...
What is
okay, Steve, I don't know.
What is going on?
Steven writes, what's Jay been playing lately? He's been playing... What, Jay?
Batman Arkham Knight.
Cool. Steven writes, Jay, what if you got a job playing Batman Arkham Knight? They'd pay you the same salary you're making now, but you have to shower with men while you're playing. Steven writes, 6 to 8 Doc episodes next year. Don't fuck me on this.
I could do that.
Okay. We could also have our New Year's resolutions, and Doc could be on there. Steven writes, Doc, will you commit to 6 to 8 episodes for next year?
I will. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
I
cool.
just, as long as, my schedule's a little weird, so sometimes it's difficult. But I'll definitely do it.
There you go.
You know.
It's locked in.
Are you still have the same schedule you used to have?
Yeah.
Okay. Steven writes, that's I still can't believe you have that schedule.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of maybe moving on to a different schedule, but we'll see.
Why? Do you care if we say what your schedule is? I mean, like, just like
it's got its positives and negatives. I mean, it's good to get the week off, but it kind of really sucks for the week on. So, and you spend most of the week off recovering from the week on. So
Doc works like a crazy. He works every other week, but he has the weeks he works are pretty crazy hours.
Yeah.
So yes, but he has the following week off, and he gets 4 weeks of vacation on top of that, which is pretty awesome. Do you get to take all 4 weeks?
Yeah, well, so basically 4 times a year instead of getting 1 week off, I got 2 weeks off.
Yes, but I'm saying like they give that to you, like there's no issue.
They just it's in the schedule, like they put it in the schedule.
Oh, that's pretty,
yeah. It's just the way the schedule works.
So is that getting to you though? I feel like, I mean, it sounds awesome to have that whole week off, but maybe it's not.
Well, the thing is, like the first few days, it's like, I mean, you work 84 hours in the last 7 days, so you're just like you're in a daze, like you're just you just like the first day or two was like not really productive, and then you get 5 days, but you got to realize I work every other weekend, so you're trying to cram in all the weekend stuff in one weekend basically. So it's okay. It's just not as good as it sounds.
Okay. Are you seriously looking for like a more normal schedule?
I'm thinking about it, yeah, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
What's the more normal schedule like?
I mean, you could do like 40 hours a week, like 8 to 5 every day.
Okay, that's
Monday to Friday kind of thing.
Okay, that's my question. Was like, is that a common schedule? So,
well, I work in a hospital, so in a hospital, like you have to have coverage all the time. So someone has to do the weekend. So if you do the weekday thing, you're kind of on call half the time, also. So it's a little tricky.
Okay. I mean, would you get like do you get paid more for doing this schedule, or would you get paid more for doing the other schedule? Or does
it's about the same because the number of hours is like equal.
Jay, what if you got offered that at work? Would you do that? Let's just say like they were like, you're gonna do twice as long each day, like work your 12-hour days for 7 days and have off. Would you do it? You say you're there. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would do it.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's like when you think about it, it sounds a lot better than it is.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, it sounds like it's amazing, which is it's good, but it's not amazing.
Well, I mean, it's almost like you're like instead of jogging, you're sprinting, and like you're like,
right.
Well, I'm gonna get to go slower in between the jump, but like,
right,
you still have to sprint.
I mean, there's less commuting, which is good because like you're only commuting, 7 days out of 14 instead of, I guess it would be 10.
Yeah, it just seems like you're like every other week you're on a vacation, but like I could see the issue also, and also like it's probably when you're off on a Wednesday, it's not like your friends are all off on a Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like I get off on Tuesday's my first day off, and no one's around, and so basically it's the weekend that you get to hang out with people, but then you're working every other weekend, so you miss shit.
Yeah. I feel like I would kind of want to try it for a while, but I can see how it can get old. Steven writes, is Jay afraid to piss next to other guys at the urinals? Does he hide in a stall and piss like a girl? Steven, best question he's asked so far.
No, I can piss in a urinal. Took me a while to warm up to it.
So if you're standing next to another guy, would you have no issue pissing on him? Did this really take you a while? Like you were uncomfortable at first?
Yeah.
What if it's one of those like trough urinals where like no separation?
I hate those.
Those are weird. I gotta say.
Yeah, no, they're weird, but like I'll use them. Jay, will you use them?
I will, but I begrudgingly.
Okay.
It also depends on the percent concentration of alcohol in your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're drunk enough, it doesn't matter. I'm just like I gotta pee, so
yeah,
it's happening.
Like Jay, if you get drunk enough, do you shower in front of other men?
All right, are we done with questions?
One more. Steven writes, how much would it cost to get Jay to wear mascara for 6 episodes?
Wait, there's video?
Yeah, there's video. Don't even ask. People, our fans donated $300 to get video for the show. This really happened. Anyway, so I assume Steve was just talking on the show wearing mascara. I'm pretty sure the price won't be that high.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, Jay. Like you have to buy the mascara and wear it. I can't imagine mascara is all that expensive.
Right.
How much would it cost?
$100.
Let's $100, six episodes. There you go.
And you can just wash it off afterwards.
Right. Considering Steven
yes,
will be the only one to see it.
So, Steven, if you send Jay $100, you will have 6 episodes of Jay wearing mascara.
All right.
But you have to send the mascara.
No, you could go buy it. It's fine. Like Jay will go to CVS and buy mascara or whatever you buy. He'll go to mascara.com.
That would be awkward, like going to a store and like you're the only one and like all you have to buy is mascara and you're a dude. You're like, what's going on here?
No, you buy like condoms and a dildo also.
So we are Brink of Sanity 3 on Twitter, thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com. Leave us an iTunes review, join the Facebook page, and we'll be back next week.
Doc, do you want to plug anything? Do you want to plug your hospital?
No, I don't want people showing up there.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Doc.
No problem.
Thanks for making the show 2 hours yet again, Mark.
We're excited to see you 8 times next year.
I'll send you the bill when we go over our storage limit this month again.
I sent you $50, so hopefully you can get the Trump thing up and with that money. I'll send you more money. I don't care. This Trump thing I think is a really good idea.
It might work. I don't know. You might get like thousands of listeners.
I think Doc is a genius with his your level of who's the guy that cut the cow in half? The
King Midas?
King Solomon?
King Lear?
Yeah, you are the King Solomon of the show. Like, just cut the show in half. Do a Brink, release it as the Brink, release it as the Trump, and see what happens.
Was that my idea?
That wasn't the Doc's idea.
That was Jay's idea.
Yeah.
Was that your idea, Jay?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I'm still giving Doc credit.
Okay, yeah.
I hope you're cool with that, Jay.
That's great. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm going.